But don't feel bad.
The whole time I won.
Let's say that's another topic.
I think, we don't start.
The link below, do you see it? Why are you watching me still? You haven't clicked the link yet. Click it. Click it. Click the link right now.
I mean, you know, you have that back and forth playing games like, oh, let's not really be something, but let's lay it with each other. And then one day I remember just crying and just being like, what am I going to do with my life? And our friend said, well, you always talked about acting. Why don't you try that? You need something to look forward to. And I'm like, I don't know. She's like, no, don't do it. And I said, okay, I'm going to try it. And ever since then, I can say like my first like acting thing was on the TV show, Netflix show called Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. So I have like a small little part in there that you can actually see me. I'm in like season 2 where I give her like a high five. So I'm like, I made it. I made it. I don't speak, but I made it. So that's pretty much how I started my little entertainment acting thing, and ever since then I've just been in love. I cannot. I think I'm gonna give up sometimes, but then God's like, you ain't girl, go in and go do something else.
Wow.
So that's pretty much me in a little nutshell.
Wow. And that show is actually that show is actually pretty serious. I know the first thing that led me to that show was just the title. I thought like that was a cool title. I'm just like, that's a dope title. Right. And that's what led me to that show. But that's cool though. Now I'm gonna go to season 2.
Yes, I'm in season 2. I think it's the last episode when Kimmy meets her mom. So there's a part where Kimmy is tying her shoes and she remembers how she got kidnapped. And so from there, that's what you'll see me.
Yeah.
you won't miss me. I promise. You won't miss me.
How did you land that?
So since I started doing the acting thing, it was real quick. I got a lot of like when you first start out, you do a lot of extra work,
right? And
so it's all the background stuff. So all those people you see walking in the background doing stuff. So that's how it was. And they had like this big call at Universal Studios, so you have to be there like 5 a.m. whatever. So I get there and they had us in this big warehouse or big production, or what do you call it, the studio. And they just had us all waiting there. So we're just sitting down, and they all said, we need our AAs. I'm like, AA, like Alcohol Anonymous? What are you talking about? And they're like, no, African American. So they got all the black women up.
Okay.
And so everybody's like, okay, the AAs, you know, no disrespect to white people, but all the white people were like, oh, the AAs, the AAs. I'm like, So they gather all of us together, and for some reason, the women were not friendly. I don't know why, but they were not friendly, and I was trying to be like talkative. I like to talk.
The other
African American women, they were not talkative on that particular. I don't know why. I absolutely know. You know, everybody's talking about what they did. I did this, I did that, and I'm like, I just started, but I'm not into that. So there was another lady with her son, you know, and I was talking to her. Then they call us. All my AAs come over here, so they line us up, and they literally one by one. What's your name? What's your name? What's your name? Then they get to me like, what's your name? I said my full name. My full name is Pavie Vega. And they're like, ooh, you come here. And literally that's how I got it. They're like, okay, so you are going to be the woman who gives Kimmy Schmidt the high five. I was like, huh? What? And after that, oh my God, I became Beyonce. Everybody's talking to me and telling me how they do this and that. I said, was not trying to be my friend. And everybody's like, well, you know, I usually wear my hair like you, because at the time I had my hair short too. I usually wear my hair like that, but I decided to straighten it. And my husband's this and that. And I'm like, baby girl, you talking to the wrong one. I ain't got no pull. I don't even know what I'm doing. I'm nervous to even give this lady a high five, and I'm not even doing nothing but walking. Boy, that's how I got that by a fluke.
Yeah.
Nothing special.
That's cool. But that's dope though. So I guess talk a little bit about the podcast. What do you guys cover there?
Oh, the Mud Box. Yeah. Oh, I love the Mud Box. So pretty much we talk about anything and everything underneath the sun. We don't hold back. So unfortunately, there's probably people out there are going to be watching it and not like what I talk about, because there's some things that I just don't agree with, or some things that I don't have a good understanding, and you know, this is our way of discussing it. So it pretty much started out like just really thrown to me because we were creating a podcast room, and the gentleman that I work for, who owns the building where the podcast is, was like, you need to do this. Like, you got a personality, you need to go out there. And I'm like, well, I want to do it, but I don't want to just go out there and do something like everybody else is doing. I don't want to do something where I'm just running my mouth. I want to have a purpose behind it. So I wanted to have people who are related to the topic. So if we're talking about sex, I want a sex expert on there, or sex and marriage and relationship expert on there. So therapists, doctors, lawyers, men, anybody that is connected to the topic, because I don't want to just go out there giving my opinion, because anybody can do that. I want to be able to give people a chance to have some type of educational purpose behind it. So that's really what my main goal is. But so far I haven't done anything real educational, but we're getting there. We're getting there. But it's been so much fun. Like, we have talked about fetishes recently.
I want to say that's the video I seen with the glasses.
Was that the glasses?
You had on glasses?
Probably not that one. I don't think I have glasses on that one. I don't remember. My brain is... But I had one, we talked about fetishes. And so we had a gentleman who talked about his experiences with fetishes, and a young lady who hosts, what do you call it? I guess sex parties? Not a sex party, sex toy parties. And she discusses like how her events are catered to people with certain particular fetishes. So that was interesting. We actually, our recent podcast that we did was talking about the financial burdens of Black athletes, because if you didn't know, a lot of athletes after they get out of the NFL, almost 70% of them are broke. Like, you are you're part of the top percentile of people with money, and you are broke. Not even 5 years out of the NFL, and you're making, like, most people can live off of $50,000 a year, and you're broke after a year, and you have $1 million. It's crazy. So that was one of our topics, but it's been a journey, and I appreciate the Lord for opening the door to give me that. You know, I didn't think I could do it, but I did. Yeah. And
how long has it been running for now?
Since November of last year. So it was literally it was really kind of a last minute recent thing, and it's like, you know, let's just go and do it, and it's been doing well.
That's dope.
I'm grateful for that.
I started in radio.
Really?
So I started in radio. And me and my wife, my wife and I had a segment within a radio show called Real Talk with the Tademys. So, Word Knowledge Radio Show, What Up Knowledge, that was the show. Then we had a segment called Real Talk with the Tademys. So, and that was new. Like, I hadn't done anything like that before. I mean, I've done public speaking. I've preached at churches, and I performed doing music, but I hadn't done anything consistently like that. And then just talking, but I found out that I like to talk, and I can talk. My wife was like, you need to get paid to talk. And I was like, huh. So, you know, I was like, hey, okay. So I started in there. But I say that to ask you this question, like, as far as like developing a speaking voice, I didn't know that was a thing. Like, I was just like, oh, you're just gonna hear me just talk. Ooh, no. And I think that's what the misconception of doing either a podcast or a radio show is, like, talking and keeping people engaged in what you're saying. Right. You know, that's not, anyone can't do that. Right. Absolutely. You know, that's why they're called, you know, personalities. Yeah. People's attention span are what, maybe 10 seconds long. Right. And so if you can't get somebody's attention in that 10 seconds, you lost them. Right. So it takes time, it takes practice, it takes understanding your audience. Because I think a lot of times people go out there and they want to do something and they don't know their audience, or they don't have an idea of who their audience is or who they want to talk to. So they go out there and they do it, and they're like, well, why nobody watching? Well, who's your audience? You're doing a topic on this and you're doing a topic on that, but you really haven't defined who you want to talk to. Right. So nobody knows what am I listening to. Yeah. So yeah, it's important. How was that for you? And what do you think? Who is your audience? My audience right now for the podcast, I would say, is anybody who wants to understand what Black people are going through, what Black people deal with,
because I'm Black and that's what I know. That's my culture. That's where I come from. That's what I can talk about. I can't talk about anybody else's experiences. Right. So I can talk about my experience as a Black woman. I can talk about my experience as a Black woman in corporate America. I can talk about my experience as a brown-skinned woman in the acting world. So I want to be able to touch people who may not ever get exposed to that environment because they live in their world, their bubble. So of course, yes, I want to talk to my Black people and say, hey, here's some things that let's work on, and let's work on our unity, let's work on getting closer together. But there are people out there as well who want to understand things that we go through, and they won't know unless they find somebody talks to them about it. So that's pretty much my audience. Yeah,
that's dope. When you were talking about, you know, just your podcast, authenticity.
It's hard.
Being authentic.
Yes.
I think that's something that when we're talking about being a personality in any regard, whether you're like a show host, podcaster, radio, you know, being in any form of entertainment, you have to be an authentic human. And just being real in who you are as a person. Not that you gotta, you know, worry about fitting into all of these other places, but just being authentic to you. I think that's what people subscribe to when they find a radio host that they like, a show that they like, or anything like that. They just like the host or whatever, the person being authentic. I don't want to attempt that word again.
I understand.
But I want to say that was something that I had to learn. So I guess talk a little bit about what that was like for you, or what that is like for you, because you're doing it.
It takes it takes a relationship with God. God made you who you are for a reason. He made you unique. Yes, somebody out there may be doing the job that you have, talk show host, but He made you to do it in His way. And once I feel like every one of us, not just in, you know, talk show or being on camera, with anything that you do, once you get connected with Him and understand what your purpose is when it comes to Him, it's easier for you to be your authentic self, because you're not here to impress nobody. There's not a damn person on this earth you need to impress, because no matter how much money you got, no much little money, it don't mean shit to God. So at the end of the day, once you recognize that, yes, you can love people, and you know it's nice to have them and be in agreement with you. But because also sometimes people are not going to be in agreement with you. You don't have to worry about, oh, this person don't like me. Who cares? God knows who I am. God made me this way. You don't like it? Oh well. Move on. Move on. But I definitely, it takes having a relationship with God and loving yourself. Loving yourself. That right there is definitely why I am more authentic than I was when I was younger, or more confident, and have the ability to actually have public speaking, because I love who I am. And God showed me who I am, and He knows my path. Whatever anybody else thinks doesn't matter.
But like, even in doing this, like, I think a lot of times people think that when you do step out and when you do something, it's just like, oh man, you're just great at it. You had all this, you had all that. And it's just like, but I didn't have everything though. I didn't know. I wasn't sure. I was scared when I did it. Oh, I couldn't do that. You're just so brave. I don't see how you got to do it. I did it scared. And it just happened to work.
Oh my
you know what I'm saying? So like even in doing this, like I didn't have everything. Like even now, like I started developing things. I started getting things and resources and people and partners and support. It came along the way. I didn't have that when I first started.
You had to grow.
You know what I'm saying? You have to grow. And a lot of times when we move and we do things, it's just like I did it scared. I didn't know how that was going to work out. It just worked. You know. So I guess talk about that. And I think when people see that, even when people want to hate on something that you do, it's just like, you're hating on me. I'm figuring this out as I go, but that's how you have to do it. Otherwise you would never start. You'll sit back thinking that, oh, when I get that, or when I figure this out, or when I find out, I'm gonna start it. Man, you'll waste time. And time just ticking away. You'll never get it. Time just ticking away. So I guess just talk a little bit about that and how you're moving in the way that you're moving.
You know, sometimes you can be so lonely in this, and once you get over that hump, like, you know, sometimes you're gonna have to do it scared or do it by yourself.
Yep, by yourself.
That's when you realize, okay, I gotta keep going, because not everybody, you're not gonna go and do anything and think that 10 million people are gonna be behind you, and start loving you and everything's gonna be perfect.
Yeah.
You have to do it scared. You have to grow. Sometimes I think we as a society and as a human race, we forget that God puts us through things for a reason. You can't just, not a lot. I mean, some things he do, like when it comes to parenting, it's not like he gives you a book out of your vagina when you have the kid. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, this is exactly how you raise little Timmy.
Yeah.
Some things, you know, he has to grow you before he can bless you with it.
Yeah.
He's not gonna give you $1 million if you can't even spend the $10 he gives you right. You don't even want to give $1 from the $10 to him, but yet you want God to turn around and bless you with a brand new car, this house, van, this and that, new show, this brand new. But you want all this from me, but yet you can't even respect me enough and give me this.
Right.
I just want you to grow. It takes time. It takes growth. Like, I've been doing this for so long, this acting, and it feels long to me. Everybody's like, girl, that ain't nothing. But to me, it feels long.
Wow.
But I'm trying to learn to respect that it's going to take more time to get to where I want to be.
Right.
And it's going to take time from wherever you want to do to get to where you want to be. You want to be a track athlete, you want to be an Olympian, you don't go just straight to the Olympics. You got to start from the beginning. You got to start in your elementary school running track, then you got to graduate to your middle school, then graduate to high school, and each time it's challenges, because there's going to be somebody that's faster than you, it's going to be that's slower than you, so you get that confidence, then somebody going to come out there and blow you out the water and you're like, Jesus Christ. So it's like you have to grow and respect the growth. Enjoy your growth. Take your time in your growth. Don't rush it. You don't want to go out there and rush and get anything, because you may not be able to handle it, and when you fall and you crash, you gotta be ready to pick yourself back up, because some people, they rise high, go so fast, and they fall so hard and can't get back up. And that's why you see a lot of people, look at how many people got money, get all that stuff, and still kill themselves.
Yeah.
Take your time, bro. Yeah. Take your time. No need to rush in what God is doing. Yeah, you want to get married right now. Then find out you get married and you be like, oh my God, what did I ask for, Jesus? You know what I mean? It's like, take your time.
Yeah.
Enjoy your growth. It's hard. It's not easy. I still struggle with it.
Yeah.
But enjoy your growth.
Yeah.
Because you're going to get there. You're going to get to your destiny. Trust God, but enjoy your growth.
Yeah. My friend, one of my good friends, Brandon. What's up, Brandon? He has his apparel brand is called All In It, and his slogan is "Respect the Journey." And the behind his brand, behind his All In It apparel brand, it's called All In It because all one word is all in it one word, because everything in life. It's everything you could think of, the good, the bad, the ugly, the indifferent, you know, the issues, the struggles, the joys, the ups and downs of life. It's all in your journey.
Right.
Everything is in your journey. You brought up failing and getting back up, and I want to talk about failure a little bit. Like you talked about that, and you have to be ready to get back up. You gotta take the time to do it. Respect the process. Like I say this a lot. God lives outside of time. He's in eternity. We're in time, so we're subjected to time. We live in this time frame. So everything in life is going to take time. Like, and I think sometimes we don't get out there, we don't do something because we're like, oh, I don't have it, and when I do it, I want this. So you want to plan it out perfect because you're gonna get in it, and then boom, it's gonna go straight to the top. No, you have to go through the process. You don't get to floor 10 even on the elevator without passing through 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5. So like you have to take time to process to get to where you want to get to, and it's all a part of the journey though. And I think sometimes that could be intimidating to a lot of us because we don't want to have to go through the process,
of course, of
getting there,
because it hurts.
Yes,
it hurts. It don't feel good to know, like, you know, you go to an audition, they pretty much go, like, you're literally sitting in the room, they're like, ugh, that hurts. You know, it hurts, you know, when you finally buy your new house. Somebody probably bought a house in 2019 and probably lost it in 2020. That hurts. You know, you finally get married and God takes your husband or your wife early. That hurts. But it's a part of the journey.
Yeah.
And nobody wants to be in pain. Nobody wants to feel that struggle. But unfortunately, that's life.
That's life.
That's life. It be like that sometimes. It's a crazy saying. We laugh about it, but it's true. It really do be like that sometimes. And unfortunately, as much as we want to control things, we want to be able to control the idea of, you know, our timeline of how our life works.
Yeah.
We don't have control. We may think we have control, but I recognize that now we really do not have control of anything.
Really don't.
We only can control our feelings and how we operate in our kind of like our body. But even sometimes we have no control how our body wants to do what they want to do. I mean,
they want to do what they want to do.
We want to do, and like I remember, you know, I have friends who, you know, have pregnant. I've seen them gone crazy. And I'm thinking, why aren't you happy? Like, you're having a baby, it's a blessing. And I realized this person has no control on how this child gets to grow in their body. They have no control how their body is going to react to a person being growing inside of them. Wow. And they have no choice but to respect this journey that is happening in their bodies. And so, like, it hurts. It hurts. But you know, I haven't been there yet. But I know there's something that you have to. You can only prepare yourself so much.
Right,
but it's like, respect your journey and get ready for the pain, because it's gonna hurt. But you can't learn if you don't fail. You won't know what works. You won't know what you should try a different path, or you should try something this way, unless you fail, unless you let it hurt. And that's another thing I tell my friend all the time. One thing, anything I deal with, let that shit hurt.
Write it down, babe. Let it hurt.
Let that shit hurt, bro. Let it hurt. Because the more you sit there and hold on, try to fight this thing, I'm okay. Nah, cry. You know how many times I don't cry? I probably cried just last night for something I was asking God for. But it's like, let that shit hurt. You holding on to this pain and anger and this bitterness and these things because you want something to happen the way you want it to happen. And you're like, I'm trying to not ignore the pain. I'm trying to ignore how this person feels about me. I'm trying to ignore the fact that I didn't get this job. No, let it hurt. Because the longer you sit there and refuse to allow yourself to feel that pain, the longer this journey is going to be, the longer it's going to take to get to where you got to go, the longer God is going to let you drag through that keyhole because you don't want to learn your lesson.
And a lot of times the lesson is in that pain.
It's in that pain.
Let it hurt. That's a bar. Like,
I mean, sorry to cut you off, but just thinking about it, if I didn't allow my ex to hurt me, I would be with him probably if I allowed it the way. Oh God, I just say thank you right now. If I would have gotten things the way I wanted to go, I would not be where I am. I would not know that I would have been becoming an actress. I would not have been able to start the podcast. I would not be able to say that I paid off my car last year during the pandemic. I could not be able to say that I have a roof over my head and now I'm living my dream. I mean, I'm not completely there, but I'm living my dream right now. If I did not allow myself to go through that hurt. If I fought to keep something that I wasn't supposed to be around. Let it hurt, man. I'm telling you, let it hurt, because you don't know the blessing that's on the other side of that pain. You don't know the blessing that's on the other side of that rainstorm.
Wow.
Just let it rain, baby. Let it rain.
And I think that the hardest part about all of what you're saying, in a nutshell, and correct me if I'm wrong, basically what you're saying is stop trying to control it.
Yo, let it go. Let the control go.
Life is going to do what life does. And the thing that we have to understand is life has been doing this since the beginning.
Exactly. Ain't
Since the first 24 hours this world spent and rotated, like, life has been doing this. We get here and we think that we can control how life works. And I think that's a lot of time, that's a lot of what our issue is with a lot of things. You know, it doesn't go how we plan it. But the thing about it is, life does not care about your plans. Not that your plans aren't important to you. Your dream and your journey is important to you. My dream and my journey is important to me. Everyone out there watching, the dream and journey is important to them. And you want people to invest in it like you, but that's not what they do. And there's nothing wrong with that. And once we start to understand and realize that there's nothing wrong with the way life does life. it's just out of your control. Deal with it.
Literally.
And once you understand that, it's not to say that life doesn't hurt you, but when the hurts and the pain come, you understand it from you have a little bit more understanding going through it, because you're like, oh, this is what life does at this moment. Okay. But you talked about something a while back, and I just want to touch on it really quick before we go. You talked about going into these auditions and rejection.
Boy, so I'll tell you.
How do you deal with what's your advice for dealing with rejection?
Don't take it personal. You can't take it personal.
You got to maintain that zeal.
Yeah, I had that point where I was screaming, cussing, like, this isn't fair. You take it like, something's wrong with me.
Right.
And then I had to, I think maybe a friend I might have talked to, or a friend had to give this to me. It's like, you just probably aren't the look. There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. It's just you're not the look they were looking for. There's plenty of, it's just like dating. Some guy or girl tries to talk to you. You're just like, you're not a bad person. You're just not what I'm looking for.
Right.
But you are somebody's looking for. Somebody's looking for you.
Right.
And so I had to, go in there like, I don't take it personally anymore. I go in there. Granted, I still am nervous because I the whole idea of somebody judging you. Like I picked a career where you pretty much are judged for the way you look, the way you talk, the way you dress, everything.
Yeah.
Not very smart, but it's there. I just, after this, when it's done, it's done. I don't have to deal with this anymore. If I get it, praise the Lord. If I don't, there's no fire. Nobody's dying.
Right.
Everything's okay. So go home and enjoy your day.
Yeah.
So that's what I have to think about. And I hope anybody out there who is trying to get into the acting, please don't take this personal, because this can consume you. You hear so many stories of men and women who have been into the acting world who have taken their life because they couldn't handle not being on top, or couldn't handle or understand why they weren't progressing the way they wanted to progress.
It's nothing to do with you as a person. It's just that there was something that they wrote for. There was a character. Like I was talking to you earlier off camera with the sitcom. Like there's character bios. Like we've developed these characters, and we just have to we're finding people to play that character.
Right.
So it has nothing to do with whoever reads for anything. It's just that this character has a look, taste, and feel that we've developed.
Right. And
it has to get layered over who you are as a person.
Right.
And then you got to be good like this.
That too, you got to be good. Now we are in the era where you really don't have to be good. You have to at least have somebody following you. So I think that's
true. That's
the stages we are in now. It's like, how many people are following you? Nobody's following you. You're not important. And that is just so, I feel like it's just, I've gotten to the point where I'm like, I don't care. If I post a picture, I post a picture. I don't. I'm not looking for your attention. I just enjoy what I do.
Yeah.
I enjoy acting. I enjoy being a character. I enjoy being somebody different. I enjoy being a doctor today and a serial killer tomorrow. It's fine.
You can play a killer?
I can play a killer.
Wow.
Yeah. I can.
That's an interesting role.
Which is interesting because I'm working on a project which I will be playing a serial killer. So yes, I will. So, ooh.
It makes me think of Johnny Depp, and Johnny Depp is an actor that I feel is like, he likes playing character. Like, I think I seen him one time in Night and Day, I think is the name of the movie, when he was he played a guy in another country, and he was with the actress, and she was like a agent or something like that.
With Angelina Jolie.
Yes,
I know what you're talking about.
Where he actually played like a normal man.
Yeah, and that's all. He's never not normal.
He's never Jack Sparrow, Edward Scissorhands,
Mad Hatter, Sweeney Todd, Willy Wonka. See,
he's always been
a character.
Was it The Window?
I know they had something called The Ninth Gate or something.
I think I seen that.
What was it? Didn't he have something where he was like an Arthur or something like that? And he was like, I don't know.
He was weird or something like that. Like I want to say he had like a personality or something. Like he was somebody.
Right.
Somebody, but he's always played like a character.
Right.
But he said he likes that. Like he but then that's acting. So I guess that would be dope because you get to turn it on and off. So yeah, This was dope. I appreciate you sitting down with me.
Thank you for having me. I didn't know if I had anything important to talk about.
You made it. We go 50 minutes, so yeah, you did 50 minutes of talking.
Ooh, child. Sorry, audience.
Yeah, so put your socials out there. The podcast, where can they find it? Where can they find you? Just look into the camera and give it to them.
So you can find me on Instagram. My Instagram handle is It's Vega Love. I don't have much on there right now, but if you start following me, I will put something just for you guys. You can also find us on Facebook with the podcast. It's the Mudbox Studios and the Mudbox Podcast on YouTube and Mudbox Entertainment on Instagram. So we're all over there.
Cool. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode. Sit down, hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, but you don't watch my stuff and not subscribe, you're not them type of people, so I don't even know why I said that. Thank y'all so much for subscribing, and see y'all next time. Deuces. Yeah.
This was nice.
Boom.